Hello, welcome to another episode of Battle Topics. I'm your host Clayton, along with my co-host.
Laughing Stock. And for this episode, we're going to go in depth to the position of promoter, sponsor, someone willing to lend a helping hand and maybe an open wallet to a league to put on the best event possible, be it to represent their part of the country or maybe they're just a fan who likes good shit. I think a great person to talk to about that very topic is Nikiya. Uncle Nikki, how you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you doing, guys?
Swag daddy.
So that's all that's said, and that's all that's done. Because, like I said, this isn't hip hop. This isn't fun.
NWX.
So we wanted to talk to you about this topic today because it's kind of rare that you see an outside promoter / sponsor come in and throw as successful events as the Massacre series have been. There kind of seems to be a stigma floating around that if an outside person with a big wallet comes in and says they want to put on a mega card, it tends to either fall completely through and either never go down or just shits the bed, whether it be quality or distribution wise, what have it. It just never pans out the way it's supposed to pan out. But Massacre seems to be an outlier from that. Both of those, you had Massacre 1 in 2015, which was arguably one of the best events of the year for all leagues, and then Massacre 2, once again, one of the best events of the year, and it's back-to-back successful events in the fans' eyes. So we wanted to touch on what you think you have done that kind of separated you from other individual promoters and sponsors that come in and want to be a part of the game. What do you think you have done that has separated yourself and made Massacre such a success?
So, it's an interesting question. And I think that when they're coming in and doing something big within the scene, the only way to really be successful is to be a fool. I'll explain what I mean by that, in that I didn't come into Massacre 1 with any sort of idea that I thought I was going to make money off of the first event. That wasn't my goal. My goal was to throw an event that I would enjoy. I'm a huge battle rap fan. I'd already been following it for a couple of years by then, and I've grown up on hip hop. So it's something that I have a passion for, and the money wasn't the point of throwing the first one. It was just to put on a great event and to give to a culture that had given me so much.
That's really awesome that you're just a big enough fan to say, you know what, I want to be involved. So how did you go about that? How is this something it had to have been something you approached King of the Dot with, right? Because I know they're not out looking for people to, contribute to them. So did you extend the olive branch and say, I love battle rap, let me help?
Yeah, well, it started out with me traveling. I started going to battles with Battle of the Base 6. But, I grew up in California, so that wasn't strange. Although I had never been to Oakland before. So that was my first time in Oakland was for Battle of the Base 6. And from there, for the next year or so, I probably went to most major events. I hit Blackout, I hit High Stakes, I hit Gnome, I hit Summer Madness. And I really got involved before I got involved, if that makes sense. I made friends with people. I met so many people throughout,
You networked.
Doing that traveling.
So at what point did you tell yourself that you felt that you were ready to kind of like approach a league and say that you wanted to try your hand at that?
It had probably been about a year and a half, maybe 2 years since I'd started going, and I've done promotions before. I used to throw raves many years ago, back when I was 18 years old. Yeah, I used to throw raves down in South Florida. So promoting wasn't something that was foreign to me. It was something that I had always wanted to get back into, but that I didn't have a passion for any music to that extent, to any scene, I should say, to that extent until I started following battle rap. Once I decided to do that, I knew that I wanted to work with King of the Dot. I had already become friends with a lot of the guys over there. I had been talking to Troy, Kingfly, as well as Lush, and at the time Aspect One as well, and kind of reached out. And I had a few different ideas. Some of them were larger ideas, but just not necessarily well received. I wanted to mix music in with battle rap.
What do you
But
mean by that? I want to
eventually
wait. I
came-
want to know. Wait, what does that mean? That's really interesting to me. Like genuinely, what when you say infused music and
So
battle rap?
I wanted to put on a concert. I wanted to bring in musical acts as well to perform and have battles kind of in between them.
So like more like a concert
So-
or like a fest almost, like a battle fest kind of.
Kind of, yeah. You know, have it be people that were, you know, friends of the culture anyway. Like I had already seen, you know, Sticky Fingers from Onyx at a King of the Dot event, so I thought maybe I'll get Onyx.
So, okay, so obviously you know had big bold plans and you wanted to be
and
different.
then my next goal then became I'm going to make battles happen that probably would have never happened on King of the Dot otherwise. You know, that's where a Calico versus a Pat Stay happens, or a Goods versus Rome. So I tried to be different in some of my matchmaking at that point.
So in terms of success, like after Massacre 1 happened and you had a pretty good turnout, pretty good reception, what was your original like takeaway from it? Did you feel like it had gone the way you had wanted it to go? What kind of obstacles did you run into that kind of took away from it? Like, did you feel like the event was overall a success, or?
I did feel it was an overall success. It was very trying. It was very hard to get completed. There were obstacles every which way. Finding a venue was an obstacle, so I ended up having to take it out into the middle of nowhere. You know, shout out to 413 Battle League for hooking me up with the venue that they were using at the time. Then I had people that ended up not making it. I mean, one of the most reliable people in battle rap didn't make it to my event, and that's DNA. DNA doesn't no-show. And I had him on 2 battles, of course. So, you know, that was a big obstacle. And Shoddy Horror didn't make it across, and that was one of my marquee matches. So I'm like, you know, what do I do there? And I was able to scramble and put some things together, and overall it was a very fun event live. Everyone there had a blast. I don't think there was a single paying customer that walked away unhappy.
Massacre 1 was my very first live event. There was definitely some room for improvement. What were some of the main takeaways that you wanted to implement and that made Mass 2 such a success?
Well, Mass 2, one of the main things that we had to do, and unfortunately that came at an expense, is we had to make sure the internet was perfect, because that's such a huge factor. If your stream's cutting off all the time, like, nobody wants to deal with that. Communicating, that got a lot better. The fact that I wasn't doing it all by myself, so that was definitely different.
Your 2 events in, obviously people want a Mass 3. And King of the Dot has, you know, Blackout on their plate right now, and no one's yet to confirm or deny anything. But how are you feeling about it?
I'm feeling rough about it. I'm feeling kind of beat up about it. Not just in the sense that I've been working on this since November, and I still don't really have anything yet.
Okay. Yeah, that's battle rap. That's very battle rap of you.
Yeah. I've tried to get there's a few main events that I've gone after that haven't worked out for one reason or another that would have been really big, because, you know, obviously the main events are something that you want to be very careful with. You want it to be something that people have been asking for, that type of thing. Some of those can be expensive, some of those can be just difficult to make happen. But I feel pretty good. I don't know that I'll top Mass 2. That's a difficult challenge. But I think I'm going to put a card together that people are really going to enjoy.
And like you're saying, you know, it's promoting and setting up an event is more than money. It's logistics more than anything. It's arrangement. It's organization. It's a lot more work than just spending money. So say an overzealous fan who just, you know, came across a winning scratcher says, hey, Nikiya, I have $20,000 and I'm stupid with money and I want to put up a battle rap event. How do you suggest I do it? Where should I spend my money? What do I need to invest in?
I would talk to the league that you respect the most. I would not try and start my own league. That's not really needed at this point, unless you need it in your region and you're trying to start something small. But I'm imagining you're asking me about an event with larger names, that type of thing. I would say work with a league that you respect and tell them what you want to do, have them negotiate. But I would say if you're going to be doing something like that, you should probably have traveled to a lot of events. You should probably already know people within the industry, because everyone's so approachable. It's not like you can't become friends with Stock if you go to the same event that you're at. You know what I'm saying? You can walk up and talk to you and have a conversation.
If I had 20 grand and wanted to throw my own event, should I bring my own internet?
You're not going to be able to do that, no.
Okay, never mind.
What do you think when you see these people with deep pockets come in saying that they're going to throw a mega card or they're going to be the next best thing, or either try to start a league or just try to do a one and done big event? What kind of thoughts run through your mind?
First of all, I empathize with them very much if they think they're going to come in and make a lot of money, because there's not a lot of money to be made in battle rap. There's just not, by anybody, even the battlers themselves. Even, some of these guys get paid a lot of money, but they battle 2-3 times a year. There's a lot of expenses that go into these things. I would hope that they're doing it for the love of it. I would suggest working with somebody, because people will overcharge you, and then their price goes up for everybody. It doesn't really make sense a lot of times. It's just once somebody gets paid something, they think that they're worth that every time. And it's not that they're not, it's just that the money's not there. Like, you have to look at each situation individually and see what can be beneficial for everyone.
That's another thing is, coming in, basically you networked for a while and then you came in wanting to participate yourself. Did you feel like there was anybody in the scene, you don't have to name names, that might have been trying to take advantage of you? Like, do you think you came across as like a fan with money, and they're like, oh yeah, well, I need this much for this and blah blah blah, someone just trying to take advantage of what you were doing?
Certain people did, and it wasn't so much of even that it was because I was a fan type thing. It was certain people that I didn't necessarily know were obviously going to try and get as much money as they can from me. And I understood that going in. Like, if I knew somebody on a personal level and those people didn't charge me the outrageous amounts that other people did. But I also knew that certain people were going to cost me a premium simply for the fact that I didn't have those connections.
Yeah.
And you kind of have to look at it from all sides, and that's just going to be the case. I'm going to try and talk you down as much as I can, but at the end of the day, if I want you to perform and we can come to an agreed upon price, that's what's going to happen.
That's also a good point where you were talking about how, like, people take advantage of outside investors, and a lot of times you'll see people either asking out, or battlers asking an outrageous amount of money, or at least money that they wouldn't necessarily get from other places. And then once they get it from that outside investor, they'll come back to somebody like you or another league and say, well, I got X amount from no-name investor or whatever. They kind of devalue the leagues that have been branding and setting their mark for the longest time, but can't necessarily afford dropping massive amounts on every single battle or every event.
Exactly. And, that's something that I'll even admit in hindsight that I was guilty of.
But I feel like people have like they've grown to have a lot more respect for you than Joe Schmo with big pockets. They kind of feel like you're one of the staff now, and they feel like you're part of the team now rather than some outside investor.
And one of the ways that I've been able to accomplish that is I made my event a marquee event that people want to go to, and so people want to be a part of that as well. By building hype, the hype around NAS 2 was unbelievable. We were sold out weeks before the event. And it was at a big club in Cambridge. Like, it wasn't a small club. It was a very well-known club. Voice to 5'9" performed there like a week later. And so I think that's one of the ways that I was able to do that, was I was able to help put together an event that people wanted to be a part of. And if you want to be a part of something, it's a lot harder to take advantage of the person putting it together, because they could just tell you no.
Yeah.
So setting yourself up for that type of mentality whenever Mass 3 is rolling around here in the summer, is there any kind of like sneak peeks or any kind of like teasers you could give to fans that you have brewing in your mind?
Any
ideas you have looming?
You can give away?
Yeah, any full cards that you have booked?
I don't have anything currently booked right now per se. There are, I'll say this: there are some battles that were supposed to happen at previous events that I would very much like to have happen, like at previous massacres that may have been in the works that didn't happen.
Okay, so stuff that wasn't public, not like DNA versus 40 bars. That one never went down,
Correct.
Right? Okay.
Correct. No, just some things that may have been behind the scenes that, that were supposed to happen that just never happened. I'll say this, I have enjoyed the Bunker series very much, and I enjoy the people that have been battling there, especially some of the newer guys.
I think that's great because, the Bunker has really shed some light on younger talent that might not have gotten it otherwise. And even with that Bunker shine, they could still use, a trip out east. They still might not have the motive or opportunity to go to the New England area and put on a show there. So I think if hypothetically Massacre 3 featured talents that already set a tone for themselves in the Bunker and it translates on the East Coast, it's a win-win for you, King of the Dot, the performer, everybody. It's almost like they have a head start.
And I'm also from LA, even though I live out east, I'm from, I grew up in Venice, so.
Totally off topic.
Nikiya, if you had to book a match between three battlers, any three battlers battling each other at once, a triple threat match, if you will, who would you pick?
Oh, that's a good question. Frank Stacks, Caustic.
I feel like the safe third for that one would be Madness.
That would be dope. Yeah, I could do that.
That or Loaded Lux. One of the two. Nobody else.
Touching back onto your Battle of the Zay with Eric Foreman, you also did a back to basements with E. Farrell. That was your first battle.
Yes.
So the question's pretty simple. Do you ever intend to battle someone not named Eric?
No, because actually my only other battle that was supposed to happen was I was supposed to battle DNA right before he battled Tay-Rock.
So, yeah, you're just sticking with the theme. All right. Nikiya, if you had to describe how you earn your wealth in 3 words that doesn't give away your occupation, what would those 3 words be?
Go fuck yourself.
All right, those are good words.
Oh, I was not expecting that. That was a pretty good one. Okay, so Nikiya, this is a would you rather type question. Would you rather get speared by Goldberg or have a rematch with Foreman on the URL stage?
I'll probably have a rematch with Foreman on the URL stage.
That'd be pretty vicious.
I'd have people ghostwriting for me. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You'd be safe. You can't ghostwrite a spear.
I'm friends with Goods and Clips and a few other people that could help me get some bars out.
they be in your corner too, so they got you. Set it up.
Yeah, Norbs, I know you're listening.
Yeah, Norbs is an avid fan, so set it up, Norbs. Okay, so Nikiya, you held a whole series of battles in your basement called Back to the Basement. So with that being said, since you held an entire battle event in your basement, what other unique ways do you utilize your basement for?
Well, actually, I don't even live in that house anymore, and my basement in this house isn't finished. The half that is just has my pool table in it.
When you sold your old house, did you market it as Legendary Battle Rap Venue?
No.
Did you have to disclose that to the to the buyers that there were 5 battles that went down here?
The only thing they make you disclose now is nowadays they ask you if your house has ever been used as a meth lab. You actually have to answer that question when you're selling your house.
Not if DNA's battled in this house before or not.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll just say on it, has Charlie Clips battled in this house? What room was he in? All right, Nikiya, your last question. As a person who used to promote raves in the Florida area, what is your opinion on dubstep and the current EDC scene?
I don't do drugs anymore. I did them when I was a kid, and that's when I was into that kind of music. So I don't really have an opinion on it.
When you used to promote raves, was it before the internet? Like when there was the rave hotline you had to call to find out where the raves were?
The internet was still very new. Like I used to go to all the other local raves and post flyers up on people's cars, like while they were inside. Like it was all hand to hand. I used to go to schools and pass out flyers, like colleges and stuff.
So if you went to that EDC festival like now, would you just feel like an old guy out of place?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that.
Like there's a time and a place for that, and that's in your late teens, early 20s.
For sure.
Well, anyways, Nikiya, I appreciate you being on. You cleared up a bunch of interesting topics. We definitely look forward to Massacre 3 as everyone else does.
With Blackout being a little bit later in the year, Mass 3 is going to be a little bit later in the year as well. Everything kind of had to get pushed back. It's not like they can battle mid-April and then have a huge event.
Hey, but it's better though that way. If you ask me, it's like we've waited this long. No need to rush. Like you've seen that happen with certain battles that people have been waiting a long time for, and then if you rush into it, and it tends to not necessarily live up to what it could have been. So, I mean, a month here or a month there is not going to make it. So.
No, it was a blessing for me because, like I said, I'm nowhere near prepared. Like,
Maybe Blackout will re-inspire everybody and get the juices flowing again, and then we'll be ready for another epic Massacre event.
I still got a few tricks up my sleeve, but.
And like I said on my show, you are basically because you come once a year and you come bearing presents. You are like a battle rap Santa Claus that looks like a shopping mall Santa Claus. So you're very appreciated.
So, all right, we'll talk to you soon, man. I appreciate you being on again.
Thanks for joining.
All right, you guys have fun.
All right, thanks.
See you, man.
See you guys soon.
See ya.